Hello, you are watching VNA News Agency's Daily Bulletin, and now the headlines.
Cultural sector celebrates its 70th anniversary. ASEAN Economic Ministers meeting opens in Malaysia. Central Highlands faces challenges in tourism development.
A ceremony took place in Hanoi on August 22nd to mark the 70th anniversary of the cultural sector. Deputy Prime Minister Vũ Đức Đam attended the event.
In his speech, Deputy Prime Minister Đam praised the culture, sports and tourism sector's achievements over recent years. He said that Vietnam has a rich culture with many heritage sites. The Deputy Prime Minister also said developing an advanced Vietnamese culture embracing national identity is a long-term task. Preventing negative cultural behaviors is the responsibility of the whole society, but first of all, state managers. On the occasion, the sector was honored with the Ho Chi Minh Order, the country's second highest award, for its achievements and contributions to national development.
The ASEAN Economic Ministers meeting and related meetings opened in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia on August 22nd. Vietnam News Agency correspondents in Malaysia bring you more.
The Vietnamese delegation to the meetings was led by Deputy Minister of Industry and Trade Nguyen Cẩm Tú. Addressing the meeting, Malaysian Minister of International Trade and Industry Mustafa Mohamed said the event is taking place at a crucial time on the path towards the establishment of the ASEAN community, one pillar of which is the ASEAN Economic Community. The minister underlined that ASEAN has gained strong economic growth over the past 2 decades and reduced barriers to promote trade and investment. Last year, ASEAN attracted $136 billion in foreign direct investment, surpassing China, nearly 20% of which were contributed by the bloc's internal investment. During the event, economic ministers will discuss the implementation of solutions to building the ASEAN Economic Community. Other key items on the agenda are the development of the post-2015 ASEAN Economic Vision through 2025, strategic action plans for the next 10 years, and the building of the ASEAN Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises Master Plan in the 2016 to 2025 period. The same day, the 29th meeting of the ASEAN Free Trade Area and the 18th meeting of the ASEAN Investment Area also took place in Kuala Lumpur.
The third Southern Conference on Hematology and Blood Transfusion took place in the central city of Da Nang. It was attended by more than 750 domestic and overseas delegates, including guests from the US, France, Belgium, and Japan.
The conference heard nearly 100 reports, including 17 essays introducing new international research projects to be applied in Vietnam in the near future. The biennial event, first launched in 2011, marks the development of the sector in the South in particular and in the nation in general. This year also marks the 20th anniversary of the first successful stem cell transplant in Vietnam. The first operation was a bone marrow stem cell transplant conducted at the Blood Transfusion and Hematology Hospital in Ho Chi Minh City in July 1995. 9 facilities specializing in blood stem cell transplant have been established nationwide so far, and they performed 445 transplant operations.
Despite recent sustainable growth, focus has not been on livestock exports, and technology application remains limited. Therefore, experts said international cooperation is a chance for the animal breeding sector to improve its competitiveness in international integration.
The livestock industry contributes up to 24.6% of Vietnam's agriculture production value. Nevertheless, the industry has not succeeded in building a value chain. The production value is still low and uncompetitive even in the domestic market.
It is necessary to improve product quality, which has long been a weak link in the production chain. Shortcomings remain in breed and feed management and food safety.
Rapid globalization and the implementation of pledges to open the milk and livestock product markets pose great challenges to Vietnam's animal husbandry. Restructuring is considered essential for the sector to promote added values and develop sustainably, in which the application of science and technology is the main focus.
I think the way is really to think of them as opportunities. Opportunities in the sense that many more people are looking to eat more meat, more eggs, drink more milk, and this is an opportunity for people who are producing livestock products to be part of producing the food, being part of the market.
The signing and expanding of cooperation will also help the breeding industry access financial resources from international organizations, apply technology, control diseases, and focus market trends.
Better business performance in the first half of this year has helped many commercial banks enlarge their human resources. Our reporters will bring you more.
The latest financial reports from 6 large banks, namely Vietcombank, Vietinbank, Eximbank, Military Bank, ACB and Sacombank, showed the number of their employees surged by more than 2,200 in the first half of this year, more than the total increase of 2,100 reported in the entire last year. Employees' monthly salary also rose by 7% against the same period last year on an average, up from $718 in the first half of last year to $769 in the first half of this year. The bank's total pre-tax profit in the first 6 months of this year rose 2.1% against the same period last year to $538.24 million.
The Ministry of Industry and Trade has warned that Vietnam will fight hard to reach the rice export target of 6.8 million tons this year if the country sees no breakthrough in its export markets.
By August 13th, Vietnam had exported just over 3.3 million tons of rice, raking in around $1.38 billion in free on-board price, equivalent to about $1.42 billion in cost, insurance and freight price. The decline was attributable to remarkable plunges in imports from most major markets, except Africa. According to the ministry, rice exports in the remaining months of this year would depend largely on such markets as China, Indonesia and Malaysia. In 2014, Vietnam shipped abroad 6.32 million tons of rice and earned $2.8 billion, becoming the third largest rice exporter in the world, just behind Thailand and India.
The central city of Da Nang will invest roughly $2 million to restore and upgrade the Museum of Cham Sculpture, a famous tourist attraction in the locality. Let's take a look.
The project is intended to restore and rearrange artifacts in order to ensure adequate space for exhibitions, events and preservation, as well as improve services for visitors and researchers. The Museum of Cham Sculpture was built by the French in order to collect, preserve and exhibit sculptures of the Kingdom of Champa, found within Cham Towers in central coastal provinces. It currently houses nearly 2,000 exhibits, 187 of which are exhibited outdoors, and 1,200 others remain in storage. As planned, the restoration and upgrade will be completed in November 2015 to mark the museum's centennial founding anniversary and the Vietnam Culture Release Day. The upgraded museum will also be introduced to delegates attending the APEC Summit Week in 2017.
The Hoan Kiem District Party Committee has asked the District People's Committee to cancel the plan to pave 11 old quarter pedestrianised streets with natural stones. After the assessment of the infrastructure in the old quarter and the budget, the proposal's feasibility was rejected. The District Party Committee said the plan was a good idea to promote the value of pedestrianised streets, but it was not feasible. Earlier, the Hoan Kiem District People's Committee has sought the approval of the Hanoi People's Committee for paving 11 pedestrianised streets with natural stones instead of cement bricks. The proposal drew attention from the public, with the advocates of the proposal said the plan would have improved the streets and make them easier to navigate for tourists and the local people.
The project is part of a master plan to preserve and uphold the traditional cultural values of Hanoi's ancient quarter.
However, many residents of the old quarter said the authorities had not sought the local people's opinion about the plan. In 2011, a stretch of That Hiet Street was paved with natural stones on a trial basis, but it did not work. The stone-paved stretch became wet and slippery when it rained, causing traffic accidents, and there were no gutters, only drainage holes, according to residents of That Hiet Street. The street is beautiful and clean, but when it rains, it's very slippery.
I have been living here for a long time. Since the street was paved, it has attracted a large number of visitors, both at home and abroad. It is an advantage, but the stones should be divided into smaller pieces to increase friction.
Many architects and urban experts have argued that covering the streets with natural stones is only suitable for pedestrian streets. Main streets like Hàng Ngang and Hàng Đào are busy with vehicles. The Central Highlands is one of the 7 key regions in Vietnam's development strategy from now to 2020, thanks to its rich natural resources and diversified native culture. However, with the exception of the Đà Lạt tourism hub, most of the localities are still struggling to formulate tourism products while facing limits in development.
The Dre Sappho, the Lac Lake, the York Don National Park are just some examples of the excellent natural wonders in the Central Highlands. However, considering the lackluster number of tourists and the modest $223 million in earnings in 2014 for the entire region, the Central Highlands is still relying on agriculture for revenues.
Tourists visiting Gia Lai in recent years are mostly locals. Their spending are generally limited due to lack of tourism products.
There are many reasons why the Central Highlands has yet to realize its full potentials. And one of these age-old issues is a lack of infrastructure like roads.
We have great potentials, but they haven't been fully exploited. We have upgraded roads, but that's not enough for tourism development. Gia Lai's tourism development is still at low level as compared with the whole Central Highlands region. One of the reasons is poor conditions for infrastructure.
However, from the perspective of travel businesses, the Central Highlands' main issue is the lack of professionalism, particularly in formulating its products to attract the right customers and training employees.
Some of the provinces are still unfocused as they develop their tourism. For instance, Đắk Lắk province cannot distinguish the differences between the domestic market and the international market. So we end up with products like elephant riding being marketed for Vietnamese, when it should be directed at foreign tourists. Our biggest challenge is a lack of tour guides, especially tour guides who can speak Japanese.
Another challenge facing the Central Highlands tourism industry is the risk of resource degradation. The biggest problem is the construction of the hydroelectric plants in the Serpok River, severely impacting the area's aesthetic. Other issues include overuse and overexploitation of elephants. As such, the Central Highlands tourism industry is still an unsolved equation, awaiting a breakthrough from the industry and local communities.
And that's the end of our program. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.